ready, Staten Island. It's time to celebrate 5 years of Ferry Hawks baseball. Come out to the ballpark this week as the Ferry Hawks welcome in the Charleston Dirty Birds May 5th through the 10th. Grab the kids and come on out. We kick it off on Tuesday, May 5th with Cinco de Baseball with $5 tickets and $5 food and beverage specials. And we end the week as we celebrate all moms on Mother's Day. Moms get in free. Visit ferryhawks.com now to lock in your seats.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me, taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Craig Carton is still the best. You tell me, Craig, where does John Sterling belong in the pantheon of all-time greats?
Yeah. Look, I think he's one of those guys like Harry Carey in Chicago, Harry Kalas in Philadelphia, Vince Scully in Brooklyn and L.A., and part of that's because of his longevity. Part of that's because even the mistakes he made became must-listen-to radio. And he's it's a bad way to put it, but those guys are a dying breed. The guys that stay with one team for 30, 40 years, I'm not sure that how long those guys are going to exist anymore. Because of the travel, because of the money, because of the consolidation, because some teams don't send guys on the road anymore. But John Sterling was uniquely ours. And even in the last 5 or 6 years of his career, where his mistakes became fodder for talk show radio, I just don't think there's a lot of guys like him left. And I think John Sterling and the tributes he got yesterday were very well deserved. Think about this. In an era where guys don't like to go to work, 5 days a week, let alone 7. He did more than 5,000 consecutive games. And if you put that in context to the 20-year career of Derek Jeter, and you just played Derek Jeter's 3,000th hit, the home run, just for context, John Sterling called every single pitch of Derek Jeter's career.
Wow. No,
that's why he's special.
That's amazing. That's a great job, Craig. You're right. And he was special. You talk about the mistakes. And, Lou, you remember this. We had a guy at WFAN years ago. His name was Jonathan Grunfast. He mostly cut tape. He went on to become an update guy for me in Miami, believe it or not, Craig. So, long story short, at the end of Bob Murphy, the Hall of Fame announcer for the Mets, at the end of his career, he effed up all the time. He would call Keith Hernandez, Sid Hernandez. He just, he would talk about Pee Wee Reese. It got rough for Bob Murphy at the end. And Grunfast made a tape of all of his mistakes. And one morning, you remember this, on Imus, after Bob Murphy died, and everybody was doing the Bob Murphy tributes, I decided on my sports report that morning for Imus to play the Bob Murphy mistakes. So Imus going, "You son of a bitch, that's not nice." And all kidding aside, Chernoff was furious. Eric Spitz was furious.
Mike and Chris were
pissed. Yeah. The Mets were pissed. And I say this to you, Craig, because if given the opportunity to do it again, I would do it again tomorrow.
Yeah. By the way, me too.
I know. That's why I love you. That's why I say you're the best in the business, because on a serious note, you understand, and this is why you're great. You know your sports, but you're entertaining. That's why John Sterling was great. Entertaining. That's the key word, no?
Yeah. Look, he was a showman. He understood it. I'm not sure if he would have embraced it, earlier in his career. But I think as he got older and people started to talk about his legacy more, I just think he liked being talked about. Now, Susan yesterday, I thought, did a great job kind of eulogizing him on our midday show with Evan Roberts and Sean Marash. Tiki was off yesterday.
I have that cut. Wait, I have that cut right now. Let's play this. This is Craig referred to it. Here's a chance to play Susan on the show. Cut number 10, and she talks about, to Craig's point, the first time she met John Sterling.
I was his update person on WFAN in 1987, and he was doing a talk show, and he came up for All-Star Week, and he did the week. And I remember he came in, and I was the update person, and he stood up, and he cupped his hand over his ear, and he talked standing up for 4 hours. And I said, this must be a really interesting person. And he could talk about anything. He could talk about any sport at any time. And so his callers were exchange between him and the callers was unbelievable. He also was a pretty nasty talk show host. People think it was nasty then. John would really yell at people and she called them stupid. But I thought, this is quite a fascinating person he is. And that's when we became friends, and we found out we had the same taste in music. We read the same books. He was a voracious reader. I don't know if people knew that in between innings, John would be reading. He would come right back into it, because that was his life, was baseball. But he could turn it off, read a couple of pages, and now we're in the bottom of the seventh, and he'd come right back. It was extraordinary.
Nice job there by Susan, right, Craig?
Yeah, it was great. Look, they worked together longer than anybody, right? So she would know the kind of picadillos about, him off the air as well. I've heard that story before, that he would spend the pregame reading whatever novel he was reading or book he was reading, and then as soon as the producers said go, he went right into go mode, which I think is a great gift that he had. But she did say something. It made me think. I've tried to have a little more empathy my second and third iteration on the fan. I'm not sure if I'm successful at it or not, but she did make the comment yesterday that he didn't quite understand, or at some point earlier in his career, when people would take shots at him. Like, he didn't get it. And I think there came a point late in his career where he enjoyed being talked about, even if there's people, playing like you did for Imus, some of the mistakes he made. And I think he became a larger-than-life figure, almost a caricature of himself in the last couple of years. But I think the fact that so many people across the country are playing his calls and mimicking his calls now tells you about his legacy as one of the great radio play-by-play guys in baseball history.
Bottom line, this is the Hall of Famer, the great Craig Carton. Weekday afternoons on WFAN. Does a great podcast, too, in the mornings with his guys over at Fox Sports 1, which we play here.
Do you think it's bad to have a 30-ounce Coke slushie and a bag of Twizzlers and a box of Tic Tacs for breakfast?
I mean, it's probably not as bad as a line of cocaine and a half a bottle of scotch, but it's not great.
Oh. All right, so you win.
You know what's funny about you is I know you. You're in good shape. You're a very good-looking guy. You used to be a very good ball player. I'm not sure if you still are. You probably are. But you don't eat healthy, do you? You don't eat healthy.
Well, it's a 30-ounce Coke slushie from Quick Check and Twizzlers and Tic Tacs is unhealthy. I guess I'm unhealthy, but I'm glad you brought up my ball-playing skills.
Yeah?
I don't care what anybody else says. WFAN against WABC on the softball field.
Let's go.
In Staten Island.
Let's go.
For charity. Are you in or are you out?
I got to tell you, the Staten Island Ferry Hawk management, the great Gary Perrone, who loves you. He was in these studios just last week as the Ferry Hawks opened up their home schedule at that beautiful stadium last week. He is so excited, Craig, about this opportunity now for your WFAN baseball team to take on my team at WABC. Chad Lopez is in. Chris Olivero is in. Here we go. We're going to kick your ass, Craig. We got. I don't know who we've got. We got Dick Morris at shortstop.
Yeah. By the way, you have Brian Kilmeade playing second base.
Right.
I win.
Well, one of the things you have to talk about, though, are the rules. Like, you can't be bringing in, I know what you guys like to do. You're a sports station. You're friends with everybody, Craig. I get it. You can't have Plaxico Burris and Derek Jeter and all those guys playing on your team when I'm going to be playing, my weekend crew like Cindy Adams. You can't do that.
Yeah, you're going to have Bo Dito at first base, Joe Tacopina pitching.
True.
You're going to have Bruce Blakeman playing right field.
Yeah.
You're going to have, like I said, Kilmeade's playing second.
Yeah.
I'm going to have Plaxico Burris in right. I've got Tiki Barber in left center.
Oh, my God.
I've got Ryan Leaf at third base.
Oh, my God.
So good luck.
Tiki's a great shortstop, too. What I may do just to really make sure that the fans love us, I may put President Trump at third. How about that, Craig?
You think he's got to? By the way, I was told that there's a video that came out maybe over the weekend that President Trump was a decent high school baseball player.
That's true. He was actually even better than decent.
True?
He was good. Yes, he was actually good. Even better than decent. He was good. And
Yeah.
I
I think I saw a video of him having a catch, And he looked like he knew how to throw a baseball pretty good.
No, and he loves the game. You know, he's very, very close with Randy Levine and the Yankees. He was in a box last summer. Hearing rumors about him coming back to Yankee Stadium again this year. And he loved the Wilpons. I'm not sure how he gets along with Steve Cohen, but he, in fact, when he first won in 2017 and did his first interview with me and Bernard, God rest Bernard's soul, and we talked about all the important stuff at the time. Same thing, you know, China, White House Correspondents' Dinner. This is 9 years ago. We ended the interview with me asking President Trump, Mr. President, if opening day is the same day in Queens and the Bronx, and the Steinbrenners offer you tickets in the Bronx, and the Wilpons offer you tickets in Queens, which game would you go to? And he said, oh, Sid, that's a tough question. Don't ask me that. I love both those guys. But he made it very, very clear that he was very close with all those guys and both organizations.
You know what you should do if he's the president? You just tell Rob Manfred, Yankees at 1, Mets at 4, and do both. I got the president.
Yeah, he probably would do that, yes.
The Marine Toys for Tots foster care program is bringing hope to children who need it most. Every 2 minutes, a child enters foster care, often with only a small bag of belongings. More than 400,000 children face trauma and uncertainty, many before age 8. This May, during Foster Care Awareness Month, Toys for Tots is creating Room for Joy. In 2025, nearly 375,000 children received comfort through toys, books, and essentials, reminding them they are not alone. Donate now and change a child's life.